This is CTV News with Michelle Brunoro.
If it was you and you're watching this, you feel guilty, please make it right.
Tonight, hockey heist. How a South Island community is coming together after a local hockey club had thousands of dollars worth of gear stolen. Also tonight,
these drone attacks and missile attacks are striking schools, they're striking kindergartens, they're striking hospitals.
A humanitarian team from Vancouver Island is heading back to Ukraine, providing aid to the war-torn country's most vulnerable populations. Plus, Adam finds out how football helped reunite childhood friends after 40 years apart. Later on the Sawatsky sign-off. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. A South Island hockey team dedicated to players with developmental disabilities is shocked and saddened by a theft. Thousands of dollars worth of equipment has been stolen, including hard-to-find hockey or goalie pads for younger players. CTV's Yvonne Raymond has more on the police investigation and the outpouring of public support.
South Island Ravens, underscoring positive energy for players, are stumped by a hit off the ice.
It's pretty upsetting. I don't know why they would do that.
Police are investigating the theft of equipment, including logo jackets, skates, and hard-to-find junior goalie gear from the team's shared storage locker at Wandafuka Rec.
This isn't your typical team. This is a team that is providing a lot of community support. It's a team that's focused on kids and adults of all ages who have developmental disabilities.
Basically, the kids that don't fit into mainstream hockey. You know, a lot of kids on the autism spectrum can fit into mainstream hockey younger, but as things get faster and stuff, they get left behind, and it's not really fair. So we give them a place to come, have fun, play hockey.
Police think the theft happened over 3 weeks, starting in late September.
It was probably trickled and taken out kind of slowly, rather than one big haul.
Investigators and the team are appealing to the public.
I hope something happens where we can get that equipment back, you know?
If it was you and you're watching this, you feel guilty, please make it right. Please make it right. Turn yourself in. Give us a call.
With minor hockey help,
This is similar to what went missing.
the Ravens say they've been lent an assist to keep players on the ice.
We're just having the time of our lives when we come out here and play, so yeah, just such a great organization to be a part of.
Community donations are going to gear replacement too, money the team wishes it had to grow the program instead. Yvonne Raymond, CTV News, Colwood.
A team from Vancouver Island is returning to war-torn Ukraine, this time on its 5th humanitarian mission. As CTV's Brendan Strain shows us, the team has a goal of helping that country's most vulnerable by providing life-saving equipment to establish a blood transfusion ward in a children's hospital. That hospital serving a population of well over 1 million people.
Oleg Adamanuk is on Vancouver Island, visiting with his family, who fled Ukraine more than 3.5 years ago when Russia invaded.
Every day we have a drone attack, we have a rocket attack in our region.
Adamanuk runs a children's hospital in the west of Ukraine, serving a region of more than 1.5 million people.
We must be prepared to arrive a lot of patients with injury.
Last year, the Children's Hospital performed more than 2,000 blood transfusions on children, either injured in Russian attacks or others facing a battle with childhood cancer.
It's tragic, it's sad. We're coming up to the 4th anniversary of this terrible war.
Bob Beckett, along with his team from Vancouver Island, supports Ukraine, have made 4 humanitarian missions to the war-torn country, providing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of aid to the people of Ukraine. Last year, the team provided $50,000 to that children's hospital to establish a much-needed breast milk bank. In early spring, the team will once again return with the goal of providing enough funds to establish and outfit a blood transfusion ward at the children's hospital.
We've got an itemized list of equipment that they're looking for.
Between now and early spring, the team is hoping to raise $50,000 to turn that project into a reality.
We've got an amazing relationship with 4 other communities in western Ukraine, and we've delivered projects on all 4 of the trips that we've made to Ukraine.
The humanitarian team is also looking to provide each of those 4 communities with an undetermined $10,000 project, bringing the team's total fundraising goal to $90,000.
These drone attacks and missile attacks are striking schools, they're striking kindergartens, they're striking hospitals.
Bruce Brown says every time the team reaches out to their partners in Ukraine, asking what are the projects that the team can assist them with, the answer is always directed towards children.
They see their children as being the future.
It's really important to save the life of our children.
That is what the team is hoping to do by providing a proper blood transfusion facility to a children's hospital, currently attempting to keep up under more than 3.5 years of war. To make a donation, go to Vancouver Island Supports Ukraine's website. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Langford.
One of Canada's largest meetings of provincial and First Nations leaders is underway in Vancouver. The 10th BC Cabinet and First Nations Leaders Gathering kicked off at the Convention Centre this morning.
1,300 people are here. There will be 1,200 meetings over the course of the event. And nations have come from all over the province to gather here to meet with ministers, with MLAs.
More than 200 First Nations are represented at the gathering. Over the course of 2 days, leaders will meet to discuss a variety of topics, including the province's role in upholding and advancing Indigenous titles and rights and combating racism. Mosaic Forest Management says it lost roughly 2,400 hectares of forest during the Mount Underwood fire this summer. And to make sure it doesn't happen next year, it will be developing a comprehensive mitigation plan to combat it. Mosaic saw 34 wildfires this year, a 19% increase over 2024, which saw 26 fires spark in the forest. The Vancouver Island-based company says it recognizes the need to increase wildfire mitigation moving forward, including working with the BC Wildfire Service to tackle urban interfaces, prevention steps such as recreational access management and public education, as well as investing in equipment, technology, and training.
It was a season to remember. Hopefully we don't have any repeats, but you know, with climate change, we definitely have to be prepared, and we're going to be prepared as best we can, and we're going to work more collaboratively with all our stakeholders as well.
Mosaic adds that the 5 most significant fires it dealt with this year, including the Mount Underwood fire, were all human-caused. An environmental phenomenon not seen since 2013 is back in the northern Pacific Ocean, and researchers fear that it could have lasting negative impacts. Temperatures across a large chunk of the northern Pacific Ocean have reached an all-time high at 2.5 degrees above the pre-industrial average, spanning from the east coast of Asia to the west coast of North America. The marine heat wave is known as the blob and can take years to dissipate. According to researchers, the temporary change in ocean temperature could have lasting impacts on some of BC's most vulnerable ecosystems.
If we look at the weather forecast and, you know, one website says it's going to be 10 degrees today and another says it's going to be 12 degrees, that doesn't matter to us very much. But for something like a glass sponge, that could be the difference between life and death. So these very seemingly minor differences in ocean temperature can have really big impacts in the ecosystem.
He adds that as climate change continues to evolve, these blob heat waves will likely become more common and more severe, affecting both marine ecosystems and weather on land. A swirling cloud of starlings put on an aerial show last night in downtown Victoria. What you're seeing here is a common behavior called murmuration. It's when a large flock of birds flies together, sometimes creating intricate patterns in the sky, and in this case, gathering on the masts of a few ships. A local birder says this could be a response to the presence of peregrine falcons, which are known to spend time around the inner harbor.
Peregrine falcons fly very quickly, and so might go after starlings. So when they form these large flocks and move through the sky as a unit, it makes it easier for individuals to avoid being caught by the predator.
She says murmuration doesn't always mean a predator is around. Sometimes birds just want to have fun. Well, the United Way is dispersing $700,000 to former youth in care so they can pursue post-secondary education without the affordability crisis hanging over their heads. Students get help with living expenses such as groceries, rent, and school supplies through the Youth Futures Education Fund. A single mom studying psychology at the University of Victoria has received the funding for the past 4 years.
I honestly probably would not have stayed in school if I didn't have that funding. This has really provided me with just that extra comfort, whereas people in care don't normally have, parents to rely on, a lot of just that close circle that really helps you out when you're doing these things, especially with a kid that takes a village.
The United Way says only 8 of every 1,000 youth formerly in government care receive a post-secondary degree. Well, still to come, the ins and outs of Carney's first federal budget.
The budget I present today comes at a time of profound change.
What's in the budget for you, and will the Prime Minister's government survive this significant political test? Coming up.
2 storm systems on the way. One that'll hit tonight and tomorrow. The second one comes through on Thursday. We've got wind warnings and coastal flooding advisories in effect. The forecast is next.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next vacation by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
Hey, West Shore youth, looking for a fun spot to hang out? Youth nights are here. Skating, art, swims, and a place to chill. Staff-led and supervised for a safe, inclusive vibe. Check out wspr.ca for more info.
And Josh is here now with a look at weather. Josh, you mentioned storms, 2 storms. Ugh.
Yeah, storms plural, and both are going to bring the potential for some coastal flooding and some really strong wind. Now, I think the most significant of the rainfall is going to miss Victoria, but it will be wet. And a little windy over the course of the next couple of days. It's 9 degrees in Victoria right now after hitting 10 for a daytime high. You can see it's already windy in the north. That's where you have the wind warning. All the areas in blue, looking at wind gusts 70 to 90 kilometers per hour. In general, there'll be some exposed coastal areas that could see wind gusts up over 100, 110 kilometers per hour. And then the pink zones here, all under coastal flood advisories, as you're going to get some storm surge. That will coincide with high tide, and so it looks like it should be fairly minor, if any at all, in and around the Victoria area. But there are parts of the West Coast where you have a little higher risk at seeing some coastal flooding. Here's the first system getting set to push in for tonight, so that'll bring some rain through the overnight period. This is about 1 a.m. Victoria, the areas just off to the west and northwest, seeing some heavier pockets of rain. You've got some really heavy rain tomorrow morning all the way along the west coast and possibly up towards Port Hardy. Rain continues through Wednesday afternoon and through those areas, but you can see it kind of breaks down a little bit tomorrow afternoon in Victoria. You get a few more showers that push through in the evening, and there is the second system. And that'll go through on Thursday, and some of the heavier rain could be in the Victoria area, but probably mainly south of Victoria. So let's give you some rough estimates on rainfall totals across the island here. 20 to 40 millimeters tomorrow, and then another 15 to 30 on Thursday with showers, but no heavy steady rain for Friday. As we said, it's going to be awfully windy the next couple of days with that wind warning in place. 10 to 20 millimeters and a little breezy tomorrow for inland areas. Gusts will be about 40 kilometers per hour. Could see gusts closer to 60 though, and another 20 to 40 millimeters of rain on Thursday. So both days will be wet, but it does look like the heavier rain for inland areas will be Thursday. 30 to 70 and then 30 to 60 millimeters of rain out on the west coast. So parts of the west coast could see over 100 millimeters worth of rain. Really windy conditions as well. Gusts will be up around 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. Highs around 12 and 11. Weekend looks a little bit better, certainly drier. 10 to 20 millimeters in Comox tomorrow. Most of that coming down tonight and into tomorrow morning. Then a break. And then with that second system, you get another 10 to 15 millimeters of rain on Thursday. Windy for both days, but things calm down for Friday and the weekend. Same for Nanaimo. Friday, Saturday, Sunday actually look quite nice, but you get a bit of rain tonight and tomorrow morning in Nanaimo, then some sunny breaks tomorrow afternoon before the rain rolls back in on Thursday. In Victoria, a few showers tomorrow, and then maybe 5 to 10 millimeters worth of rain on Thursday. A little gusty tomorrow, gusts 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, and gusts will be about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour on Thursday. Chance of a scattered shower Friday, but through the weekend, should see a mix of sun and cloud, and temperatures right around, if not slightly above average. CTV weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So again, the worst of these storms will miss Victoria, but parts of the island are going to get hit pretty hard here over the next few days. You know what? The weekend doesn't look so bad there. All right. Thanks so much, Josh.
Well, the federal government has unveiled its latest budget, presenting a plan for major infrastructure and industrial investment. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has more on what spending and revenue is leading to a deficit billions of dollars higher than previously projected.
Couldn't be prouder of my finance.
We're ready. We're ready.
Nearly 7 months after getting elected, the Carney government has dropped its first budget, a 406-page book it promises will build Canada strong. Over the next 5 years, Ottawa intends to spend $141 billion in new measures that they project will bring in $51.2 billion in savings. Together, those measures will take Canada's deficit to $78.3 billion this year, dropping to $56.6 billion by 2029-2030.
To weather the storm of uncertainty, we will not lower our sails, Mr. Speaker. Quite the opposite. We will raise them to catch the winds of economic change.
One of the biggest expenditures, defense, with $81.8 billion in spending over 5 years. There's $20.4 billion for the military's recruitment and retention problems, $10.9 billion for upgrades, and $17.9 billion to expand new military capabilities, including procuring new armored vehicles.
It's a real big injection of money, but really interestingly, they don't provide any annual investment or expenditure total. There's no articulation of where year by year that would take us as a share of GDP.
There's also $51 billion over 10 years for a new Build Community Strong fund to help fund new infrastructure projects, $1.7 billion for an international talent attraction strategy, and $13 billion over 5 years starting in 2025-2026 for Build Canada Homes. That includes $2.8 billion for Indigenous housing. One way Ottawa is bringing down the deficit through changes to the public service. Ottawa wants to shed 28,000 public sector jobs within the next 3 years through cuts, attrition, and a move to incentivize voluntary leave and early retirement. How much that alone will save and where the cuts are coming from is unclear. Ottawa is also hoping to save $60 billion over 5 years through modernization and government efficiencies.
To balance the budget this year, we'd have to eliminate vital social programs and all the capital investments needed for Canada's future. We chose a different path.
But aside from a promise to review bank fees and to automatically file taxes for lower-income Canadians, experts say there's little that will help with affordability.
If you're the average Canadian, you're looking at this budget, you're going to say, well, it doesn't change my life very much. You know, I'm concerned about affordability, I'm concerned about housing costs, and lots of concerns. It doesn't really address any of those things specifically.
Instead, many economists say the budget's aim is to create a better environment for business through measures like a so-called productivity super deduction.
This is a budget that focuses on capital investment because of the context that we are in right now. The economy is quite weak and is under attack because of the tariff issues, and we have a significant uncertainty in the Canadian economy, so businesses are not investing.
For the first time, the budget has been separated into capital investment and operational spending. By 2028-2029, this document anticipates that the operational budget will have a surplus of $1.7 billion. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
An electric aircraft touched down at Vancouver's airport today, marking its first flight in Western Canada.
We're really building out the entire ecosystem to make this new era of low-cost, zero-emission, sustainable aviation.
Vermont-based Beta Technologies is behind the battery electric plane, which has the capacity for 5 passengers. Today's demonstration was hosted by Helijet, which is hoping to become the first Canadian air carrier to operate Beta's electric aircraft. The future fleet could support healthcare operations and provide more affordable and convenient air travel for rural and remote communities. Well, coming up, football friends. Adam finds out how tossing a football started a friendship and maintained it for 50 years. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Finally, Adam finds out how a football helped reunite childhood friends after decades apart on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
This is a story that began more than half a century ago.
We're just tossing the ball like we've been doing since we probably about 11 years old.
Back in grade 5, when Chris with the hat and David without realized they had a couple things in common.
Music, football. What else is there?
When they weren't listening to the Beatles or passing the pigskin, Chris and David were making questionable choices.
You know, we were both sent to the back of the class.
You know, if there was something stupid, we'd probably do it.
Well, David and Chris remained friends throughout high school and became roommates after, before they found themselves on opposite sides of the world.
Relationships, jobs, stuff like that.
Until 40 years later, Chris called David out of the blue, asked if he wanted to toss the ball, and effortlessly picked up where they left off.
Well, because he's got great taste in friendships.
That's the secret to the friendship?
Yeah.
After doing this almost daily since, what began as a way for old friends to simply have fun
Nothing better than football.
has evolved into something more philosophical.
So just a way to really just get back to my body knows more than my brain, because it's really hard to listen to your unconscious or be aware of it until you shut up.
So they silently throw the ball back and forth, engaging in a conversation unhindered by words.
It's exhilarating. It's good. It feels good.
Because what could feel better than knowing no matter how far you and your friend find yourselves apart, you'll always know how to bring yourselves back together. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Vancouver.
Nothing like longtime friends. That's it for CTV News, Vancouver Island. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. Tonight on CTV News.
This is a budget that focuses on capital investment.
More spending, more debt. What Prime Minister Mark Carney's first budget means for BC and which local projects the feds will invest in also. On trial for murdering a Mountie. What security video reveals about the frantic moments after gunfires exchanged outside a Coquitlam condo. And
we are looking to find a way to streamline the diagnosis of heart failure.
How Vancouver research using artificial intelligence could change how doctors detect heart failure and save lives.
This is CTV News with Michelle Brunoro.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Prime Minister Mark Carney's finance minister tabled his first budget today, one he touted as generational. The budget comes with big spending on infrastructure, but also a massive deficit, projected at $78 billion this year. CTV's Rob Buffin joins us live from Victoria with more. And Rob, despite the big spending, this budget may come as a letdown for regular Canadians hoping for an immediate boost to their pocketbook.
Well, that's right, Michelle. Mark Carney had said that this budget would offer something for everyone, but experts are saying there's not a lot in the document that addresses affordability. When it comes to infrastructure, there is $51 billion earmarked for a Build Communities Strong Fund that includes 4 projects in BC. Funding for a Filipino Cultural Centre in Metro Vancouver, the White Rock Pier, the Newton Athletic Park and recreation facilities in Surrey, and money for Victoria's Royal Athletic Park. The finance minister says the goal of the budget is to build the Canadian economy.
To weather the storm of uncertainty, we will not lower our sails, Mr. Speaker. Quite the opposite. We will raise them to catch the winds of economic change.
There are also cost savings in the budget. Ottawa planning to shed 10% of its public service jobs in 3 years, up to 40,000 jobs. Carney's minority Liberals will need some opposition MPs to support the budget or abstain from voting. Otherwise, since it is a confidence vote, it would trigger an early election. The Conservatives have already said they will not support it. Bloc Québécois have indicated they likely will not vote in favor of it either. Elizabeth May and the Greens are expected probably to vote against it as well, critical of some of the lack of environmental policy in this budget. So it may well come down to the NDP. And because they only have an interim leader, Don Davies, and are having some challenges with funding, it is likely that they will, at least enough of their MPs will support it. But we'll have to wait for a few weeks when they actually do vote on this budget. Michelle.
Yeah, wait and see there. All right. Thanks for that, Rob. On the second day of the trial for the man accused of killing RCMP Constable Rick O'Brien, the court saw dramatic security video of the frantic moments after an exchange of gunfire in a Coquitlam condo. CTV's Ben Milger now with what the video shows and how people in the gallery reacted.
It was a difficult day in court for family and friends of Constable Rick O'Brien. During testimony, an investigating officer walked the court through 20 minutes of security video showing fellow officers trying to help their fallen colleague. O'Brien had been at the Coquitlam condo tower with 4 other officers to execute a drug warrant. O'Brien was the first through the door, and the court has heard he was shot almost immediately. Another officer was also injured in the exchange of gunfire. Nicholas Bellemare faces 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and weapons charges. Video played in court shows other RCMP officers with guns drawn riding the elevator to the 22nd floor where the shooting happened. When the door opens, some of the officers attend to O'Brien, who was motionless in the hallway. Eventually, they pull him into the elevator, take him down to the lobby, and pass him to waiting paramedics. Other officers then bring Bellemare, wearing only his underwear and handcuffs, into the elevator, through the parkade, and into the street. There is blood on his left forearm where another officer had shot him. Before the videos were played, lawyers warned the gallery they were graphic and possibly disturbing in case anybody wanted to leave. Everybody stayed. As they watched the videos, friends and family of Constable O'Brien wept softly and held each other for comfort. Bellemare sat motionless in the prisoner's dock. Ben Milger, CTV News, New Westminster.
A Vancouver City Councillor wants the city to recommit to its work around equity following the closure of a dedicated office. The City of Vancouver's Equity Office launched in 2019 in an effort to advance reconciliation and inclusion for staff. In September, the city closed it as it cuts back on spending. Councillor Rebecca Bly wants the work to continue and is tabling a motion tomorrow for another city initiative, the Women's Equity Strategy. She says it's about creating safe spaces for women and gender diverse people.
Vancouver made a commitment through the Women's Equity Strategy, made a promise to the city. This motion is being brought forward that in the face of the closure of the Equity Office, Vancouver keeps its promise to Vancouverites, because if we build a city where women and gender diverse folks feel safe, we build a city where everybody feels safe.
Bly will also be tabling a motion to address gender-based violence. It comes as 34 women have been killed in BC since last August. For the second straight month, home sales in the Fraser Valley have gone up. That's according to the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board. It recorded just over 1,100 sales in October, a 17% increase from September. However, those numbers are 16% lower from the same month last year. The board says while sales were up, listings were down 14% month over month and 7% year over year. Meanwhile, Metro Vancouver home sales slowed in October, down 14% year over year, with around 2,200 sales. Librarians across BC are sounding the alarm on the need for more funding from the province to stay afloat. They say the recent rise in borrowing ebooks has made it challenging to keep up. Vancouver Public Library says digital versions of books have been at libraries for more than 15 years, but the pandemic increased demand, and for the first time, loans of digital materials have exceeded physical copies. However, the price of ebooks is double or more that of print ones due to licensing agreements with publishers. More than 90% of library funding comes from local governments, and librarians are concerned without more money, they can't keep up with the demand.
The books are all, the digital books are all metered in some way. So it's either time-based, which means they expire after 2 years and we have to repurchase them, or it's circulation-based, so it might disappear after 26 circulations, and then again, we have to repurchase that content.
In September, the Union of BC Municipalities passed a resolution calling on the province to increase library funding from $14 million to $30 million. Coming up at 6, we hear from the BC Public Library Association on what they are calling for. An electric aircraft touched down at Vancouver's airport today, marking its first flight in Western Canada.
We're really building out the entire ecosystem to make this new era of low-cost, zero-emission, sustainable aviation.
Vermont-based Beta Technologies is behind the battery electric plane, which has the capacity for 5 passengers. Today's demonstration was hosted by Helijet, which is hoping to become the first Canadian air carrier to operate Beta's electric aircraft. The future fleet could support healthcare operations and provide more affordable and convenient air travel for rural and remote communities. Coming up, what police are saying about a man's death at the protest camp outside the BC ostrich farm fighting a bird call. Also ahead.
We are looking to find a way to streamline the diagnosis of heart failure.
Just what the doctor ordered, how Vancouver researchers are using AI to help reimagine heart failure detection. We'll explain as CTV News continues. A man has died at a protest camp outside the BC ostrich farm that's fighting a cull of its birds. RCMP were called to investigate the sudden death around 7 a.m. yesterday after the man was found unresponsive on the ground at the Universal Ostrich Farm in Edgewood. Police started CPR but were unable to revive him. The man has been identified, but police are still working to notify his family before releasing his name. They say there's nothing to suggest that the death was suspicious. Well, a new research project at Vancouver General Hospital is using artificial intelligence to change how doctors detect heart failure. The technology could speed up diagnoses and make life-saving tools more accessible, even in smaller communities. CTV's Ben Nesbitt has the story.
We're just going to be taking pictures here. Doctors say heart failure is becoming more and more common. That's why this team of researchers is looking to use technology to help potentially catch it before it's too late.
We are looking to find a way to streamline the diagnosis of heart failure.
Dr. Christina Luong, a cardiologist and co-director of the VGH UBC Artificial Intelligence Echo Core Lab, is leading the study. It's funded in part by the VGH Millionaire Lottery. The team is using AI to analyze heart ultrasound images, not only aiming to speed up diagnosis, but also to improve them.
It's really important to kind of determine why a patient has heart failure by one of these few mechanisms, so that you can pick the right treatment for them, because the treatments can be dramatically different.
AI is used to help automatically interpret the images from ultrasounds or echoes by developing algorithms that can automate measurements and improve precision, even letting non-experts use portable handheld devices to check heart function in the field. It's hoped this could serve as a beneficial tool, especially in remote communities with fewer resources.
Technologies like AI in the context here are being used as a co-pilot for the decision-making process of a physician. They are support, not a replacement.
The project moves into its pilot phase next year, when the technology will be tested in real clinical settings. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
It's not every day that Mounties get called to rescue a moose, but it happened to Clinton RCMP last week after a calf got trapped behind a fence. Mounties say they teamed up with the BC Conservation Officer Service to guide the moose back to freedom. Officials are reminding people to always keep a safe distance from wildlife and to report animals in distress to the RAP line. Well, what would you pay for a golden toilet? The piece of art hitting the auction block with a starting bid of $10 million. That story's coming up, but first.
Very disappointing. I'm not very happy about it.
What happens if your kid loves hockey, but their team is scrambling for ice time? How the Canucks stepped in to help some young players. Stay with us. And you're looking at a live shot of English Bay on this Tuesday evening. You know, it was a really nice day out there. I know I woke up to sunshine today.
Yes, and as you saw in that live shot, we are seeing the clouds roll in right now because change is coming as we head into tomorrow, all thanks to this next system moving its way in, bringing in some not just wet weather, windy weather as well. A wind warning in effect for the northern tip of Vancouver Island. You'll see winds from the southeast at 90 kilometers an hour, gusting to 110, and that is tonight right through until tomorrow afternoon. It'll be soggy for the southern interior as well. Periods of rain from Vernon right down to Soos with temperatures between 6 and 8. Showers for Kamloops with a high of 9. You'll see a rain-snow mix for Revelstoke, Cranbrook, and Nelson. Temperatures between 4 and 5 degrees. For the central interior, flurries transitioning over to showers from Prince George right down to Williams Lake. Cloudy with showers along the coast for Bella Coola with a high of 9 degrees. For the northern half of the province, you're looking at showers for Macedon and Prince Rupert. Periods of rain for Terrace. Mostly cloudy skies for the northeast corner of the province. Cold temperatures as well between -2 and -6. For the North Island, wet and windy for Port Hardy, Campbell River, and Comox. Temperatures at 12 degrees. For the South Island, you're looking at stormy conditions for Tofino as well, with winds gusting to about 80 kilometers an hour. Same story for Nanaimo. Showers for the Southern Gulf Islands and Victoria. For the Sunshine Coast, 12 degrees. It'll be wet and windy with winds gusting to about 70 kilometers an hour. Same story up the Sea to Sky Highway for Squamish at 9. Whistler, soggy at 6. 6. And for us across the lower mainland, near the water, we'll see winds gusting to about 50 kilometers an hour. Temperatures between 12 and 13 degrees. Heading into Thursday, we're looking at steady rain at 12 into Friday morning before it dries up with a few breaks in there. Heading into the weekend to start things off, we will see mostly cloudy skies, sunny breaks, and 12. Warming up on Sunday, we will see rain return in the evening, but it starts off dry, so not a complete washout.
You know what? It doesn't look so bad for Saturday.
No,
Get
not at all.
outside Saturday, right?
Exactly.
Right. Thanks for that, Anne. Well, the community of Squamish is rapidly expanding, and so is the demand to play hockey. But there's one big problem. There's no ice. CTV's Craig Krause met with players and families at Rogers Arena last night after the Canucks opened their doors.
Canucks owner Francesco Aquilini and staff opening the doors to Squamish minor hockey, providing more than just an experience.
The news traveled fast that Squamish is having some challenges with their ice rink.
The only community rink plagued by maintenance followed by job action.
Very disappointing. I'm not very happy about it. It's annoying that we have to drive all the way to the city and back.
Families forced to travel more than 100 kilometers to get ice time for their kids.
We've been traveling to Langley, Richmond, Whistler, all over the place to try to find ice.
Squamish minor hockey, along with BC Hockey, calling on the local government to step up and build a new rink, as some parents consider moving.
It's very unfortunate that the City Council does not seem to be hearing us.
So CTV News went to the source and asked the mayor directly. What's it going to take to get an extra ice sheet in Squamish?
End of the day, dollars.
Mayor Herford explained that the fire halls and the Public Works building were also identified as being over capacity and end of life, needing upgrades. Priorities being checked off the list before recreation.
But even then, paying for those facility investments we've already made is driving a rather substantial tax increase here in the District of Squamish to the tune of 13%.
He estimates it would cost tens of millions of dollars for a community of 30,000 people.
We really need other orders of government to step up and partner with us to make these investments happen.
With no timeline, demand to play hockey in Squamish is only growing.
We are over 300 members, and we cannot accept any more.
Potentially sidelining kids for a full season until a solution can be found.
Please make some ice so we can play.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
A charity that provides free hockey programs for youth who are new to Canada or facing barriers has expanded to Langley.
This program in Langley will have 22 girls, although we know there's a few girls that are waiting on the sidelines to join. So, we'll try and push that up to 30.
The girls are getting a chance to play thanks to Hockey for Youth Foundation. The Ontario-based charity is celebrating its 10th season by launching its 5th program in BC. The goal is to break down financial and cultural barriers to hockey, a sport the foundation estimates costs around $4,000 a year for just one child to play. Well, the artist who sold a banana duct tape to a wall for millions has a new piece of art for sale. A golden toilet named America is about to hit the auction block, and you won't believe what the opening bid is set at. The details as CTV News continues. AC/DC is coming back to Vancouver. The band has added 21 new dates to its Power Up World Tour, which originally had just one Canadian stop. That show happened at BC Place back in April. Now the tour is returning to the stadium on August 13th and also stopping in Toronto, Edmonton, and Montreal. Tickets go on sale on Friday. Well, England soccer star David Beckham is being bestowed with a new honor today, knighthood. Beckham was knighted by King Charles at a ceremony in Windsor Castle, recognizing the former England captain for his services to sport and charity. He was awarded the Order of the British Empire in 2003, and rumors about his knighthood have swirled over a decade. Beckham played a key role in bringing the 2012 Olympics to London. Beckham's wife, Victoria, once known as Posh Spice, also got a new title, Lady Beckham. All right, and now with a preview of CTV News at 6, Here's Nafisa Kareem.
Michelle will have more on our top story. It's worth billions of your tax dollars. Today's federal budget. It is the first budget from Mark Carney's government, and it comes in the midst of a lot of economic uncertainty. We're breaking down what it means for British Columbia. Plus, hockey heist. Heartless thieves make off with thousands of dollars worth of hockey gear from a BC team dedicated to empowering athletes with disabilities. And a reunion half a century in the making. How some childhood friends found their way back to each other thanks to a football. Stick around for tonight's Sawatsky sign-off. I'll be back at 6. Michelle?
Thanks, Nafisa. A famous throne is about to hit the auction block, and it's expected to fetch its weight in gold. Plus, a Good Samaritan helps fight crime by giving a cop a lift. With Take a Look at This, here's CNN's Patrick Cornell.
If you're trying to stay golden like Huntrix, try sitting down, down, down on this shining, shimmering, multi-million-dollar work of art. Yep, that's a fully functional, solid 18-karat gold commode. This installation dubbed America from artist Maurizio Catalan. If the name sounds familiar, it's the same man who brought you the $6.2 million banana duct tape to the wall. According to Sotheby's, America is a satirical commentary on the art world, the United States, and what we value. The golden latrine has some history. It drew 100,000 visitors to the Guggenheim Museum in 2016 when guests were intended to take a seat and put it to proper use. In 2019, it was placed in a palace in England and subsequently stolen. That version was never recovered. This second edition is expected to be worth its weight in gold, literally. When it opens for auction on November 18th, the starting bid will be set by the current gold market price, roughly $10 million, which would make for one pricey restroom renovation. Moving on, a Louisiana police officer saw a golden opportunity while chasing some alleged crooks. The sergeant was reportedly in hot pursuit of shoplifters when they hopped in a car and took off. A Good Samaritan saw the whole thing go down, pulling up and offering a ride to help the cop carry on the chase.
Follow him, go, go, go.
And go they did. The citizen cop combo racing down the road, following the suspected thieves until they stopped at a stoplight.
Okay, there you go, sir. Thank you for your service.
The Slidell Police Department says multiple officers showed up on the scene around the same time as that daring duo. A short time later, they arrested the two people. Both have been charged with theft, among other offenses. For Take a Look at This, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Okay, I think we're going to talk about the golden toilet.
Yes, no thank you.
No.
I don't need
But you
one.
don't want to spend millions on a toilet?
Just 10 million.
Flush your money down the toilet.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, if you had lots of money like this guy, one lucky Albertan is $36 million richer after cashing in on a Lotto 649 win.
First, I read it wrong. I thought it was $360,000, so I kind of put it back in my pocket and got out of there. And like she said, I forgot my propane bottles there, so I had to go back and get my propane. Then I rechecked it, counted the zeros behind it, and still pretty hard to believe.
Wow, Stacey Boyce says his first big purchase is most likely to going to be a boat sometime next year. Boyce runs a logging truck business and says he wants to remain humble and invest wisely, so he plans to return to work tomorrow.
He's got the gold jacket and everything. He doesn't need to go to work.
Well, he doesn't need to, but maybe he loves his job.
Maybe he does. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot. Fall is in full swing at Mill Lake in Abbotsford. Thanks, Tina, for sending this beautiful photo in. And you can email us your photo at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
All right. Well, CTV National is next, and Nafisa's back with more local news at 6.